Trying Not to Try, Ancient China, Modern Science, and the Power of Spontaneity by Edward Slingerlan. Edward Slingerland's book tries to explain the surprising power of spontaneity in both ancient China and modern science, in a world where we often feel the need to plan and control everything. Slingerlan argues that there is great value in learning to go with the flow. The book begins with a discussion of the ancient Chinese concept of wu wai, which can be translated as non-action or effortless action. This is the idea that sometimes the best course of action is to do nothing at all. Rather than forcing things to happen, we should let them unfold naturally. Slingerlan then looks at how this concept can be applied to modern science. He discusses the work of physicists like Richard Feynman and Niels Bohr, who were both able to make major breakthroughs by relaxing and working spontaneously. The book ends with some practical advice on how we can all benefit from cultivating a more spontaneous approach to life. By learning to let go and go with the flow, we may be surprised at what we are able to achieve. Wu Wai, looking at our lives through this early Chinese lens, will require learning about two tightly linked concepts. The first is Wu Wai, and the second is the. Wu Wai literally translates as no trying or no doing, but it's not at all about dull inaction. In fact, it refers to the dynamic, effortless, and unself-conscious state of mind of a person who is optimally active and effective. People in Wu Wai feel as if they are doing nothing, while at the same time they might be creating a brilliant work of art, smoothly negotiating a complex social situation, or even bringing the entire world into harmonious order. For a person in Wu Wai, proper and effective conduct follows as automatically as the body gives into the seductive rhythm of a song. This state of harmony is both complex and holistic, involving as it does the integration of the body, the emotions, and the mind. If we have to translate it, Wu Wai is probably best rendered as something like effortless action or spontaneous action. Being in Wu Wai is relaxing and enjoyable, but in a deeply rewarding way that distinguishes it from cruder or more mundane pleasures. In many respects, it resembles the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's well-known concept of flow, or the idea of being in the zone, but with important and revealing differences that we will explore. Charismatic power. People who are in Wu Wai have the, typically translated as virtue, power, or charismatic power. This is radiance that others can detect, and it serves as an outward signal that one is in Wu Wai. That comes in handy in a variety of ways. For rulers and others involved in political life, that has a powerful, seemingly magical effect on those around them, allowing them to spread political order in an instantaneous fashion. They don't have to issue threats or offer rewards, because people simply want to obey them. On a smaller scale, that allows a person to engage in one-on-one interactions in a perfectly efficacious way. If you have to, people like you, trust you, and are relaxed around you. Even wild animals will leave you alone. The payoff provided by this is one of the reasons that Wu Wai is so desirable, and why early Chinese thinkers spent so much time figuring out how to get it. Virtue equals power equals charismatic power equals the ability to radiate goodness that magnetizes people. Spontaneity plus when gifts become a burden. Xuanzi's sages are also distinctive by virtue of the fact that they are not attached to strict values. They live their lives and have their goals, but maintain openness that allows them to change direction when circumstances demand, or to let go of something that has turned from a gift to a burden and move on to something else. Translated into modern terms, they've down-regulated their cold cognition so that their hot cognition can run the show more or less directly, with minimal interference from the conscious mind. The trick, of course, is how to pull this off. Connecting to something bigger than ourselves, grasping the fundamentally religious nature of Wu Wai is vital, and not just for reasons of historical accuracy. For one thing, the example of mastering a physical skill, while a helpful analogy, becomes misleading if it's disengaged from its original cultural and religious context. The problem is that we can imagine someone being a skilled butcher, pianist, or tennis player, and yet still an atrocious human being. What Wu Wai represents, on the other hand, is the state of being a perfected part of a greater whole that is also embraced by others. It is this holistic, social and religious quality of Wu Wai that makes it unique. It's now easy to see why Wu Wai is about more than isolated individuals incrementally improving their personal best in the Ironman triathlon or mastering a new level of Tetris. Wu Wai involves giving yourself up to something that, because it is bigger than you, can be shared by others. For those of us who no longer embrace the early Chinese faith in the way and heaven, the precise nature of this larger whole, the framework of values that gives shape and meaning to the Wu Wai experience, is going to vary from tribe to tribe, even person to person, or moment to moment. By its very nature, though, this framework needs to be something larger than the self. An essential fact about Wu Wai is that it's not just about the experience unfolding within the mind of an isolated individual, but also about social connections between people. It is this difference between skills and virtues that, at the end of the day, is driving the paradox of Wu Wai. Although our Chinese thinkers use stories like that of Butcher Ding or Woodcarver King to illustrate aspects of Wu Wai, as did Aristotle, incidentally, the kind of Wu Wai that they are worried about is moral in nature. They want to foster cooperation and virtue, not efficient butchery. So the paradox exists because philosophers notes, trying not to trifle the idea here is that if you are to successfully enter Wu Wai, your focus should be on the world, not yourself. You have to forget everything, your ego, even your own body, so that you can be absorbed into the larger movement of heaven's way. Edward Slingerlan, the kinds of virtues that people care about and value in others center on who you are, not necessarily what you do. They are about stable, inner states, not just outward behavior. They are about values, not merely actions, because it's commitment to shared values that allows larger-scale societies to function. So it's not enough to perform generous actions. You need to become a generous person. This is an enormously difficult trick to pull off, which is why true Wu Wai is both inherently hard to reach and such a great signal of trustworthiness. Once we've managed to get there, we're attracted to genuinely Wu Wai people. They have to, because evolution has shaped us to home in on signals of sincerity that are difficult to consciously simulate and even harder to experience on demand, and to do so in response to basic challenges inherent to human cooperation. The conscious mind has limited capacity, and often the best thing to do when you run into difficulty is shut it down for a while and let the body take over. Edward Slingerland.